My hands have a lot of eczema. This really hurts right now, so I gotta make this video pretty quick. So, I watched Scream 7, and one of the complaints about this franchise that I've recently heard is that it's just kind of the same thing now. Like, the copy and paste of the whole formula where Ghostface, especially how he shows up. Sorry, I have a music playing in the background. It's kind of like, you hear some background noise. They go around and check the character. And then music builds up. They approach a door. They open it. Oh, Ghostface isn't there. Closes the door and then boom! Ghostface shows up from like the side. But that's besides the point. Let's talk about Scream 7. Is it the same song and dance, or is it a bit differently this time because someone comes back? It's not good. It's the same copy and paste slop. It's not a spoiler. You'll see this in the trailer, or I'll give my spoilers in a bit. I'll just give my non-spoiler review, but this one isn't a spoiler. Stu comes back in a certain form, which I do think it makes sense given the modern era that Scream takes place in. I mean, it just catches up with the timeline that we are all in. 2026 is the year of yuckiness, but I think it makes sense, and I like that they didn't do it as like a cheap cameo throwaway. I thought it was pretty compelling to why he had to return for this film. I don't think it ruins the film. It does make it a bit more exciting because everyone does love Stu Macher, and this is his first appearance ever since like the first movie, or actually like his legit appearance. Everything else in like the second through like sixth movie, you'll hear like audio background and whatever, but I don't think that really counts. It's just like whatever. Or it's like someone plays of you know, his character in like the Stab movies, which they spoof a lot, and every movie they bring up Stab like thousands of times. But I think something that I do realize, or something that I personally think, I think the franchise is aware that it's not supposed to be scary or like, you know, give you a spook every year or every now and then when a Scream movie comes out. It's just, it comes out to give you a new game of you guessing who Ghostface is. Which is, did I say that right? Gives you a game on who to get. You get the point. It's just a guessing game on who Ghostface will be. Sorry, I'm like brushing my hair even though I don't have much hair. It's just I move a lot. I'm sorry. I just like to move a lot. But yeah, it's not aimed to be scary. It just gives you a new game of like, oh, who do you think Ghostface is? Which I think it's fine. It's still pretty fun. I will say though, the Ghostface reveal is so underwhelming, and I actually got it right on who I thought it was. It was just a shot in the dark. Like right before Ghostface was revealed, I was like, oh, it's probably this person. And I was right. And I was very disappointed that I was right. But I think I'm kind of losing you guys, so let me just try and get my thoughts organized here, starting with my complaints. I'll get into spoilers in a bit. My biggest complaint is how the Ghostface was completely underwhelming with the reveal. The story does make sense, or excuse me, the motive. I do think that with that, it's not as far-fetched as what we've had in the past, especially with the fifth movie. Richie's motive of how he just didn't like how the Stab movies go. Like, he's just some crazed film enthusiast that wanted to make a better Stab movie by killing, or trying to kill Sam and her sister Tara because they were the daughters of Billy Loomis, which I think to this day is the weirdest retcon ever. But I get it, makes sense, but it's just underwhelming because this movie isn't marketed as the conclusion, obviously, but it was heavily like focuses around Sydney, and we haven't had a Sydney focused movie ever since the fourth, so this movie was a pretty big deal. And with Stu coming back, it's even more of a bigger deal that maybe we might get something unique and good out of this, but it's just, oh, that's it. All the build up, it's just leads to who it is, and it's like, I mean, okay, it's fine, I guess, but that was my biggest complaint. Another complaint that I have is with Mindy and Chad. We've seen them in the fourth and fifth movie where they get stabbed a lot and they still somewhat survive. But as each movie goes by, they get more paranoid and more suspicious about the people around them. Like, they're very paranoid, and they make that very clear. Like, they ask for your alibi, and no matter how, like, you know, sensible and reasonable your alibi can be, they're just like, yep, that's definitely what the killer would say. Yeah. Oh, you want to go pee by yourself? Oh yeah, you're the killer. Because if you go by yourself, you're either gonna die or, and you know, you're the killer. You're the killer, and it's like it makes sense after what they've been through. It makes sense why they would be so paranoid. What I don't get though is two characters decide to go leave the setting that they were in, because Chad and frick, what's her face, Mindy, they both gather the suspects and they allow two characters to just leave. And it's like a little later after they leave there, Chad brings up, yeah, we probably shouldn't have let them go, right? And the Minnie's like, yeah. But it's like, had a pretty solid plan. Well, I don't know if this was something that they planned, but I think keeping everyone in the same room, you know, to think, oh, who might the suspect be and whatever, I think it's a pretty decent plan, especially when everyone who gets separated, you just already know Ghostface will make the next attack. But here they just kind of let two characters go, and it's like, oh, like, it doesn't feel like they're cautious anymore. They're just making the same mistake for the third time. And it's like, why? It's so yucky, really. It's a really dumb way for the plot to just progress the way it is. Another thing I don't like is there is this one character who does the shadiest thing ever. And it's like, I get it. It's kind of to throw you off, but not really. If you've watched all the Scream movies, you would understand that this was coming. He makes himself like a huge suspect with the most questionable thing he has ever done. And I'll get into that in spoilers in a bit. But my question is, he did something that I feel like everyone should have been able to notice, because they were all gathered up together. It's not like you can do much without people like kind of seeing what you're up to. So I'm just very confused as to how he got away with it up until Sydney's daughter. I'll say that Sydney's daughter, what's her face, Tatum. She's named after the first girl who was killed. The Sydney's like first friend. But it's like, how did no one notice what this person was doing until she saw? And it's like, I don't get it. That's very weird what he did, but it's like, I get it. It's kind of to throw you off, but that's what I'm saying. The film copies so much from previous movies that you just know after that, you know that he's no longer the suspect, because it's just too obvious. So really, the franchise did overstay its welcome. It drags on. I can't really think of a creative way for a Ghostface reveal, but it's just kind of worse than you would expect, in my opinion. If you're a big fan of Scream. I'm too tired now. I just want to throw my thoughts and like just vomit it all out. So it's time for spoilers. I really didn't like how the killer of this movie, the Ghostface, was this parasocial neighbor that Sydney has, in which she admired Sydney for what she has done in ever in the first movie, where she killed Billy and Stu, and you know, Sydney is like known as this like superhero, and her name's Jessica, by the way. Jessica like has this like she looks up to Sydney as an idol, but Sydney doesn't know that. She's just this like neighbor that she has, and until the very end, like she reveals like, oh, like she's been watching her and stalking her for a long time, admires her. But the reason why she decides to kill her is because she felt betrayed, and this is where the parasocial relationship comes in, where Sydney decided to leave. Okay, I'm sorry, I had to do a fact check because I didn't really hear. So what was her name? Jessica got mad at Sydney because she didn't go to New York to help the Tara and whatever Samantha in New York when Ghostface was around. She was like, "Oh, you're a coward. You're not a hero. I don't like you. Poo poo." That was what happened. I realize that now. I'm stupid. I'm sorry. Anyways, and it's like, okay, I can see the motive there, but it's just still like not really that compelling. Like, it makes sense. Like, it's not far fetched. Like, because really most of these Ghostface killers are cuckoo in the head, but I just thought this one was weak, especially how this movie was marketed. I didn't really like that. And like the second killer, her associate, was just this psychiatric like doctor at the hospital who gets like 2 seconds of screen time. I thought that was just really weird. It was like, okay, like Cool. Before I go into specific of what this one suspicious character does, I gotta talk about Stu, and then and then I can talk about the follow up with this character. So Stu comes back in the form of an AI, but nobody knows that yet, or at least Sydney and Gale don't know that yet because it's all like through FaceTime, and it looks pretty dang realistic. Well, obviously, because Matthew Lillard actually came back. It wasn't like AI Matthew Lillard. He actually does come back. But it's the point is that his character isn't like alive. He's still dead. But he comes back in the form of an AI where someone pretends to be him and taunts Sydney and says, "Oh, like I'm going to kill your daughter," and whatever. And I think that is pretty brilliant. Like, I do like that modern twist because AI is such a big prevalent thing now. It makes sense why they would use that in this film and kind of get an excuse to bring back Matthew Lillard and have some, like, you know, day one Scream fans to give this movie a shot, even though the movie was kind of destined to be booty cheeks. But I really like that part. I thought that was very compelling. Now, Sydney questions how if Stu is an AI or not. And a lot of other people question that too. And this is where I get into the point I was making about this one character who's being very suspicious. So Sydney's daughter, and the film does focus around her a lot as well. So her name, Tatum. Tatum's boyfriend's name is Ben. Sadie doesn't trust Ben because, you know, this is kind of like reminds you of the first movie where the boyfriend is the killer or whatever. But Ben does this thing where he pretends to be the killer, and he does it in front of a green screen. He records himself and like taunts like Sydney, like through like a video. He like acts it out, right? And then he AIifies it to see if he could make like the Stu Mocker AI, in which he successfully does. So it's proven that it can't be like actual Stu. It can just be an AI. My question is, why didn't he tell Tatum or any of the gang, like, you know, Mindy and Chad and others? Why did he say that he was going to do that before Tatum caught him doing it, and then she slaps him with his computer and gets very suspicious of him? Like, I thought that was so shady and stupid, especially that everyone in this movie is like a crazed like stab fan. Like, they all know what happens. I don't know why he did that. I thought that was so stupid and ridiculous. And that makes my point. It reinforces my point on when I think when a character does something stupid like that, you automatically know they're not the killer. But I just thought it was just so stupid. Like, every movie goes by, people are more aware of how characters are supposed to act when there's like a killer on the loose and whatnot, if that makes sense. I just thought that was very, very weird. Yeah, I think I've kind of covered up everything. I don't know what else to say. I just thought the movie was bad. Putting this on the yellow spectrum, I'll be nice. It was enjoyable to an extent. I'll give it a sour lemon. It's not like the worst Scream movie. I still think the third one is by the worst to this day. Like, that might be a hot take because this killer, what was it, Roman Bridger or whatever, he, like, had the most kills, but the motive was just a retcon of Maureen Prescott, Sydney's, like, mother. Like, no one ever knew that she was an actress until the third movie. I didn't like it, but yeah, but that's all I gotta say. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.